Hi, good evening. Welcome to today's SBL Practice to Pass session for December 2020 for day 2. This is your SBL tutor, Hassan Dusani. I hope you guys are keeping well and safe. So let's give 60 seconds to our colleagues who are trying to join in. In the meantime, can you please confirm to me that you can hear me clearly? Please type yes in the question box. Excellent, excellent. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so those of you who were here yesterday, because of some technical problem, I was not able to receive your questions. I know you were asking questions, but I was not receiving them. So now, how do you want to go about it? If you still have certain questions from yesterday, shall we do it now, or shall we do it towards the end of the session? My preference would be towards the end of the session, where I can take open-ended questions. So if you're okay with that, so we can start with tonight's plan, and then towards the end, I can take questions relating to yesterday. Okay. Okay, so today's game plan. Today's game plan is, first we need to discuss this exam techniques on regarding number of points. How do we decide the number of points to write? And what should be the maximum length of your answer? We had discussed this in detail yesterday, so I would just quickly go through it today for the benefit of students who are joining today as their first class. Okay, and then today we will try to do 3 topics. It's context of change model, corporate parenting and portfolio, and the third one is very interesting: IT risks and security. Right. So for the benefit of students who are joining today for the first time, there is a global WhatsApp group, and which is being managed by me personally. And please note my WhatsApp number, send me a message, and I will add you to the global WhatsApp group where we can interact more frequently. Also, for students who were not there yesterday, 2 important things. Number 1, the December webinar, I will call it season 2. Like in Netflix, you get season 1s and season 2s. This is season 2. Season 1 was September 2020 webinar, so there were like a lot of important topics in September, and in December I am not touching those topics. I am doing new topics in continuation of September. Okay, so you need to watch both September webinar later on after you've done with this webinar, followed by this webinar. Okay, second thing is, this webinar, December webinar, is based on manual paper approach. However, the September webinar was based on computer-based approach. So you can look at both to understand your respective techniques. Lastly, the way to ask question is, you can type your questions in the question box. However, please keep in mind that you should restrict your question to the topic under discussion. You should restrict your question to the slide which is appearing on the screen. Do not ask any questions outside the topic under discussion, otherwise I will not be able to take it. simply because I will not stop the topic in between to talk about something which is not, relating to the topic. So any outside related questions, I would be happy to take them towards the end. Right, every 2-3 slides, I will stop and take a look at the question box and see whether there are any questions. Am I clear? Can I get a yes? Excellent. Okay. Right, let's start today's session now. So today's exam technique is how to decide the number of points. Remember, this was one of the biggest concerns of the examiner, that students are not giving sufficient number of points. So it's very simple. There is we know that there's a technical marks followed by professional marks for each question, and if you add both technical and professional, I call it total marks. So whatever I would say now is based on total marks. Okay, so how do you decide the number of points? You just pick up the total marks of that question, and divide it by 2. That's it. Okay, so if it's a 8 marks question, you need to give 4 points. If it's a 15 mark question, you need to give 7/8 points. Okay, but do not forget, this formula applies on total marks and not on technical marks. The examiner recommends some planning based on technical mark, but my strategy is based on total marks. Okay, do not get confused. There's a small exception. If a question asks you to identify weakness and then give recommendation as well, in that case you will pick up the total marks and you will divide by 3. Okay, the maximum length of your answer in total, it should be total marks again multiply by 3. So if it's a 10 marks question, how many total lines? 30 lines. Okay, so can somebody let me answer this question? It's a mathematical googly. Can somebody answer me this question? So 1 point should be of how many lines? It's a IQ test. 1 point's how many lines? I'm waiting for your answers. 1 point, how many lines? Admin, I don't think I am getting comments. Admin, can you please check? I am not receiving comments. Hi, can you guys hear me? Can you type yes? Okay, wait. Wait a second. Just a second, guys. I'm getting a call from admin. All right. So yes, I'm now getting your comments. So going back to how many lines for 1 point? Can anybody help me solve this mystery? Very good, very good. So how 1 point is what? 2 marks, right? Do you get it? 1 point is 2 marks. You know this, right? How do you know this? If you go up, when I say divide by 2, total marks divide by 2, that means that 1 point is automatically for 2 marks, right? So 1 point is 2 marks, and we are writing one for 1 mark, we are giving 3 lines. So maximum, so 1 point should be maximum 6 lines. Okay, are you clear? This might get a little bit confusing for some students, but we need to make sure that we are fully clear. 6 lines, 6 for 2 points, 2 points. Okay, 3 for 1, 3, not 3, Hassan Zafar, not 3 for 1 point. 1 point is 1 paragraph, correct? Remember yesterday, 1 point is 1 paragraph. And for 1 point, we allocate 2 marks. 1 mark is 3 lines. So 2 marks is 6 lines. Ahmad Arif, you are wrong. Anybody who's saying 3 lines, you are mistaken. Okay. All right. So let's move on. I hope you guys are clear on this. So I'll again write it in a neat way. I'll just say 1 point or paragraph is equal to 2 marks. 1 mark, for 1 mark we have to write maximum 3 lines. So for 2 marks or 1 point, this one, maximum 6 lines. Okay, I hope this will be easy for you now. Right. So these topics, 1, 2, corporate code of ethics, 4, social and environmental factors, 5, pastel porter strategic position, 6, communication skills, 7, drafting of press release, 8, briefing paper. These 8 topics, very, very important topics. These were covered in September webinar on day 2. So you must watch the September webinar day 2 to cover these 8 topics, because I am not covering these 8 topics in December webinar, and these are very important topics. Okay. So today's model, context of change model. This has been examined once in SBL, a few attempts back, and sometimes they call it transformation as well. You know, change, some major change, we call it transformation as well. So this model is called context of change model. Number 1, when is it used? Can you read? when do we need to use this model? So whenever we plan to bring any change in the organization, before we bring the change, before we bring the change or before we implement the change, we have to apply this model. I repeat, when do we use this model? Whenever an organization is planning to bring something new or bring a change in the organization. So before rolling it out, before implementing that change, we need to analyze this model. Okay. Now, there could be many examples. For example, we are changing the ERP system. So we are bringing SAP or Oracle Financials. It's a change. Or we are changing some business processes. We are upgrading them to become automated. It's a change. Or we are changing the office timing or the office layout. It's a change. So change can be of any type. So before we decide or implement the change, we must do some homework. And when I say we must do the homework, I'm referring to a person called change manager. So a change manager is a person who is kind of the sponsor. He's the person who is trying to implement the change. Okay, so the change manager should first analyze all the aspects of the change using this model before he rolls out the change. Okay, now let's take an example. Can I just quickly rub this? I like to have neat. So let's take an example. So okay, so we know that this webinar, it is as per certain timing. For example, in Pakistan, it starts at 8:30 p.m. In India, it starts at 9 p.m. and I believe in Malaysia it's almost 11 p.m. I'm not sure. So everybody knows their local time when it's supposed to start, right? So all the 5 days it will start at 8:30 p.m. Pakistan time. No problem. Now, I am the moderator of this webinar. So I am the in charge here, right? And can I say I am the change manager because I am the in charge here. I am taking the shots. And supposing now suddenly I decide to change the timing of the webinar. Listen, guys, from tomorrow, the webinar will start instead of 8:30 p.m. It will start at 1 a.m. in late night, early morning, 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. So from tomorrow, the webinar will start at 1 a.m. your time. Now everybody knows that that time is crazy time. People are sleeping. Now who the hell in the world will keep a global webinar at a time when everybody is sleeping? But this is a change. I'm announcing a change. So now, if I am a smart change manager, I would first do some homework. I would do my homework before I will announce something crazy like this. And what things I would analyze, I will use this model, context of change model. Okay. So the first thing I need to check is scope. And scope simply means the size of the change. Is it a small change or is it a major change or a big change? A small change or a big change? Is it a minor change or a major change? So it depends on the nature of every change, right? Some changes are minor, routine, small, insignificant, but some changes might be important, some will be strategic, some will be major, some will be big. So it all depends on the size of the change. So if it is a small change, we call it realignment. So there's a technical word. If it's a small change, we will say that the scope of the change is small, hence realignment. And if it is a big change, then it is called transformation. So you need to remember these two stupid words. Realignment means a small change. Transformation means a big change. Now, isn't it a little bit subjective? How do we decide whether it is a small change or a big change? It is subjective. How do we decide? Think. Can anybody tell me how would you decide whether it's a big change or a small change? Come on, guys. I'm waiting for your comments. Based on impact, very interesting. Is it strategic or operational? Very interesting. Depending on the situation, very nice. Scope and size. Yeah. Your comments are flooding. I'm really enjoying today. Speed and impact, stakeholders. All of you are right. All of you are right. But in the exam, you don't really have the time, to. So I have given a rule of thumb. So under this model, there are certain criteria. So a big change can be a big change, but under this particular model, there is a particular criteria on how to define a big change. Okay, so the big change means what? A big change means if the change affects the senior management or the culture of the organization. That's number one. So if that change, it affects the entire senior management. For example, the governance, the board is being replaced. So the board was not working and they have been shot. It is a big change. Or any change which is affecting the existing culture, existing norms, it is going the existing norms, it will be a big change. Okay. Secondly, if the change affects the business model. By business model, I mean, if you have a physical business and now you are going towards online business. So it's changing your business model, it will be a big change. Or the change affects your core business strategy. So let me make it something nice. So if it changes your culture, the second one is if it changes your business model, and the third one is it changes your core business strategy, it affects your core business strategy, then you would say it's a big change or a transformation change. So there are three conditions which you need to keep in mind. If it's changing the senior management or culture, or the business model, which is physical business versus online, or any core business strategy like core products, core market, core geographical areas, it's a big change. If any change is not affecting any of these three factors, we will call it a small change. Do you understand? I've tried to make it very easy for you. You need to decide whether it's a big change or a small change. How would you decide? So you just see whether it's a big change. There are three conditions. There are three possibilities. If it affects one, or if it affects two, or if it affects three, we will say it's a big change. Otherwise, we will say it's a small change. Halas. Okay. Let me see any questions. By change in board, by Taimur is asking, change in board, does it mean only one or two directors? No. Change in change in board means entire senior management. Okay, that will have a big effect, right? If we are family business and we want to finance for opening branches, we need to change governance structure. Any major change in the governance structure, it's a big change, of course, because whenever there's a major change in the governance structure, you then expect some changes in the existing culture. You should then expect some changes in the core business strategies, right? So it's a big change. Yes, it is Balugan and Haley model. Yes. Ramiz is saying you are not able to see it. That's very. Are you guys not able to see what I'm writing? I repeat my question. Are you guys not able to see what I am writing? Yeah, you can. So most people are able to see. When I'm writing or highlighting, you are able to see, right? How come few students are saying they are not able to see? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for those people who are struggling. I wish something is done to fix this. All right, all right. Right. So second thing is reason. What's the reason of the change? There must be some reason. Oh, sorry. So coming back to my example. So guys, from tomorrow, the webinar will be at your local time, 1 a.m. in the morning. Now, tell me, is it a small change or a big change? And please don't shoot like a cowboy. Think, look at these three criteria. Does it affect, is it against the culture? Is it against the business model? Is it affecting the core business strategy? So if I change timing to 1 a.m. your local time, is it a small change or a big change? Let me see. Small change. Rehan is saying small change. Whoa, whoa. Majority is saying big change. How is it a small change, Rehan? And people who are saying it's small change, I would like to know the logic. Isn't it against the norms? How many classes you have attended, live classes at 1 a.m. in the morning? It is not heard of. It is an exceptional situation. So anything which goes against the existing norm or the existing culture, it will be a big change. Okay, very nice. The second thing is reason. So any change which is being brought in by the organization, there has to be a reason or a justification. And the reason has to be convincing. Otherwise, why would employees accept a change? For example, if I say from tomorrow, the webinar will start at 1 a.m. your local time. So the first logical question you guys will ask is, what? Why, sir? Why are you changing the timing? Why is actually the reason or the justification. So I need to make sure as a change manager, I give you a convincing reason so that you understand, you see the benefit of the change and you happily accept it, right? The reason is very important. Any change without a reason, people will not accept it. The third one is timing. That this change, this proposed change, when it will be applicable from when it will be rolled out. It is supposed to be rolled out immediately or urgently, or we will roll it out slowly and gradually. So there are two ways of implementing change. Either we implement in one go, overnight, immediately, urgently, or we can implement it slowly and gradually in steps. So if it is urgent or immediate, we call it big bang. And if it is implemented slowly and gradually. We call this timing incremental approach. Okay, so you need to remember these words. So here it was realignment and transformation, and here it is big bang and increment. After that, the change manager also need to make sure that he's got the capacity. And by capacity, we mean the resources like human resource, financial resource, technology. So, and announcing any change. So any change we roll out, we need resources for that change. So our change manager will all the resources. If you need people, you will hire people. If you need some financials, you will hire, you will arrange. If you need some finances, you will arrange money. If you need technological expertise, you will buy technology. So whatever resources is required, it is the job of the change manager to make sure that the resources are there, and we call it capacity. Okay, so capacity means all the required resources are available to the organization. The next one is capability. Capability means, has the organization implemented such change in the past, or is it the first time? So can I say simply means, do you have prior experience of implementing similar kind of change? So are you married once, or you have been married several times? Okay, so if you're marrying for the first time with no prior experience, we will say you don't have the capability because you have never done something like this in the past. You will learn on the job. Okay, but if you have been married several times, this means that you have experienced this in the past and you are an experienced player. Sorry for these stupid examples, but I do hope that it will help you remember something as tricky and stupid as this model. Right, so capability means that whether the organization have they implemented this in the past, or is it their first time. So if it is their first time, they need to hire consultants, they need to outsource it to the experts, right? So that's the capability. Power, the next thing is power. So you need to make sure that the change manager, who is basically the person who's implementing the change, should have sufficient power and authority to implement decisions. So we need to give sufficient power and authority to the respective change manager. It could be by his designation, like if he's the CEO or if he's the department head, then I assume that he's got the power. And if it's a major shareholder holding 30% of the shares, then because he's the owner and holding sufficient shares, he's got the power. So power means that the change manager should have power to implement. Otherwise, just sitting and talking and wasting our time is not good enough. You must have the power as well. Preservation means that when you are bringing a new change, just make sure that in the existing process, if there were some good things in the existing process, just make sure that those good things are preserved, they are not lost. Make sure that the new system includes all the good things, all the good controls, all the good points of the existing system. So you just make sure that you preserve the strengths or the good aspects of the outgoing system. Readiness means that in the end, you need to make sure that all the employees are ready to accept the change. Or if they are not ready, that means that they are resisting. So before I roll out a change, I need to make sure that majority of the people are ready. They are looking forward to the change. Otherwise, let's say if I announce that tomorrow's class will be at 1 a.m. and 80% of you are not ready, you are not. So if I have a class at 1 a.m., it will be a disaster. It will be a big flop and the change will fall flat on my face, right? So you need to make sure that majority of the employees are happy, accepting, and are ready. And lastly, resistance. So, in any kind of change, whatever you do, there will still be few people who will disagree and will resist. So as a change manager, I need to make sure that I manage or handle those people properly. Otherwise, they will try to damage or demotivate the change, right? So there are so many aspects. So before I roll out any change, if I am a good planning manager, if I'm a good change manager, before I announce a change, I will look at all these aspects of the change and then decide whether I want to go forward or not. There are a couple of more points in this, but just forget about it. These are the main things. Let me go through some questions before we actually solve a question. Yes, Najla, I did not include diversity simply because I don't understand the meaning of diversity in this model myself. No, I'm kidding. Diversity I did not include because it's so difficult to explain diversity. It will, confuse you guys. So I would rather skip diversity. A small change, example of small change would be upgrading the Microsoft Windows. It's a small change, or bringing a new printer, okay, or making some slight changes in the HR policies. Preservation with example. So for example, okay, so there's a question which says give example of preservation. So preservation means that, for example, I have a software which is outdated and I'm replacing it with SAP. So I need to make sure that whatever was the good features of my existing software, like whatever reports I was using, whatever functionalities I was using actively, I need to make sure that those reports are available in the new thing, right? Freeze, unfreeze, that's another model. So please, don't confuse it. Forget about freeze, unfreeze. My wife is sitting beside me. Oh, Ali, okay, okay. Give my apologies to her, and it also applies to her as well. Okay, right. So let's now, equipped with this theoretical knowledge, let's do a question, and there you will understand better. Huh? So now the question is, context of change model is the topic, and we will be doing P3 June 2014 E-land and re-ink question number 1B. This is the same question we did yesterday for SWOT and TOES. And now we will do the same question, one of the parts for this topic. The reason I picked up P3 was that this topic, the change context of change model, was only tested once in SBL, and that particular attempt paper was not published. So most of you might know that ACCA does not publish all the papers, the actual papers of SBL. They just publish 2 sample papers. So they may not necessarily represent the true papers, okay? Right, so let's go. This is paper P3, June 2014. Okay, we'll this is the same question we did yesterday, that's why it's all highlighted, and we will be doing part B. B. Evaluate the effect of contextual features on the introduction of strategic change at re-inc. 14 marks. So how do you know it's a context of change model question? How do you know that you need to apply the context of change model? Because I see the word contextual features. Contextual is the word, strategic change or change is the word. These are some keywords through which you, whenever you see the word implementing a change or effect of a change or strategic change or implementing or transforming a new thing, it's a change management model. Okay. And in this figure, you see in the exam paper, they have given a figure. So they've given you, they said contextual features in strategic change. They've said there's a scope, there's a timing, there's preservation, diversity, capability, capacity, readiness, and power. So few of them are missing, like reason is missing, resistance is missing. Okay. So scope. Scope means size of the change. It could be transformation, it is big change, or small changes, realignment. Timing means with effect from when. If it's urgent, it's big bang. If it is slowly, gradually, it's incremental. Power means that the change manager should have sufficient power and authority. It could come either through his designation or if he's a major shareholder. Readiness means that all the employees are ready and happily accepting the change. Capacity means that all the resources required, human resource, financial resource, technology, we have it. Capability means that have we done something similar in the past or is it our first time? Diversity means I really don't know or I want to skip it. Preservation means that anything which is good, our existing strengths, those should be preserved. Those should not be shaved off. So now if I, for the benefit of the new students who were not there yesterday and to revise, recall. So this is this company called re-inc. And this re-inc company is struggling, right? It is struggling. It is struggling financially. It is about to go bankrupt, right? Because of two reasons. One is they lack commercial expertise. And secondly, there are continuous losses. They have high loans and now they are into financial trouble. However, their strength was technical expertise. They were the market leader as far as innovation and technical expertise was concerned. So this company is now about to go bankrupt. They don't have money to pay even the salaries for next month, and all their staff are actively looking for a job because although they love the company, but because the company will shut down anytime, they want to move away, right? And now we need to read this paragraph. With this background, let's read V Ventures. So this V Ventures is a V Venture are venture capitalists. They are V Venture is a venture capitalist company who inject money and expertise into struggling companies. So re-inc is a struggling company and we are struggling because of money and because of lack of commercial expertise, and God has sent this angel V Venture, who is a venture capitalist who has got both the money and the management expertise to bail out struggling companies. But why would they help you? In exchange for a certain degree of control, ownership, and dependence. So V ventures are not nice people. They have the money, they have the expertise, but why would they scratch your back? Because they will buy some shares. They want some ownership in your company free of cost or at very nominal price. And then they will turn around the company in few years' time, and then they will exit and realize and make money out of capital gain. That's the venture capitalist model. Now, they have acknowledged financial and management competencies. Right. So they know they have financial and management expertise, which they have used in a variety of commercial environments. So these guys are experienced. They've done this several times in a variety of companies. They are not marrying for the first time. They are experienced players. Oh, and it says they are experienced change managers. So the plan is that V Venture will inject money into Re-Inc. Okay, and then they will inject money and share their expertise and try to bail out or turn around Re-Inc. That's the plan. Requirement: evaluate the effect of contextual features on the introduction of strategic change at Re-Inc. Size. The first one is scope or size. So you need to decide whether it is a small change or a big change. So do you remember the three conditions? Number one condition: or change in culture. Number two, are they changing the entire business model, which means they are converting from physical into online? And number three is, is this affecting any core business strategy? So what's happening? There are these people who are just, they are becoming your owners, partial owners, they are buying your shares. So is it a small change or a big change? Big change. How come it's a big change? All of you are saying big change, whereas I think it's a small change. How come your guys are saying big change? No one said governance structure is changing here. Governance structure is not changing. The governance is with the board of directors, and in this company, we read the case yesterday. It is run by a guy called Dexter. He is too good. He is the best. He has been leading the company for so many years. So nobody is changing the governance structure. Right now, only Dexter is the owner, and now he will have another partner or a shareholder. So assuming there is no governance change, so then it is a small change, right? So it sounds big, no doubt. It sounds big. It sounds really important. But at the end of the day, his shareholding is diluted. That's agreed. But look at these three criteria. Are you fulfilling any of the conditions? Don't try to use your logic because you feel it's big. Is any of the three conditions being met? That's the thing. These three criteria. Is the governance being changed? No. Is the business model being changed? No. The core business strategy means, are you going to change the core products, the core markets? No. Then it's a small change. We will say it's a realignment. Okay. Right. So if there's a change in the entire management, the entire governance is changed, the entire board is thrown out, including Dexter, then it's a big change. But they will not throw out Dexter, right? Dexter is the main person, and he's a good guy. Right. So it is it's a small change because the core team is still there, the governance is still there. Timing. So should they just let me clear this. I don't. Okay. So we've done this. It's a small change or a realignment, and we have to give a logic in the answer that we think it's a. Okay. Wait. In SBL, there is no one right answer. That's the beauty of SBL. In SBL, I repeat, there is no one right answer. So because just like in the board of directors, there will be difference of opinion. Someone will say yes, someone will say no. Doesn't mean one is right, one is wrong. It all depends on their logics and on their arguments, right? So you can say it's a big change, but then you have to mention your logic. Just think like a lawyer. If you're saying it's a big change, then you need to prove to the judge why you are saying it's a big change. So if you say it's a big change because it's gonna affect the entire governance or the culture of the organization, the shareholding pattern, then maybe you can, it's not bad, it's not wrong. And if you say that it's just, a shareholder is there, the core governance is not gonna change, the team is not going to change, so then it's a small change. So it all depends on what logic you apply. So don't worry, if you think it's a big change and you justify your answer, you will get marks. Okay. Timing. So this company is struggling and they don't even have money to pay the salaries for next month, and all the employees are actively looking for a job. So whatever needs to be done, in your view, should we do it slowly, gradually, incrementally over next 12 months, or whatever needs to be done should be done pretty quickly? What do you think? Urgently, big bang, quickly. Absolutely correct. So you will say that because considering the situation and the fact that the company is soon going to go into administration, it is very, very important that the strategic change should be brought very, very urgently, in hence big bang. That's it. I want you to use the word big bang somewhere in your sentence. Capacity. This one, capacity, means that does V Venture has the capacity. So what is lacking in re-ink? What things are lacking? They don't have money and they don't have commercial expertise. So does V Venture has money and management expertise? Yeah, it's mentioned 2 times. They inject money and they have acknowledged financial and management competencies, which they have used in a variety of environments. So yes, they have the resources, they have the finance, they have the business expertise. So yes, capacity, have the capacity. Capability. Has V Venture done this kind of things in the past, or is it their first time? So it says they are experienced change managers. So yes, they have the capability, and again you will need to give your logic why you are saying they have the capability. So you just copy paste the sentence from the case. Power. So do you think V Venture will have the authority and power to do whatever they want? Yeah, I think they would, because they have certain degree of control, ownership, and dividends. So because of their ownership and control, it will automatically give them powers. So they will have powers to implement whatever they like to do. Readiness. Do you think the employees will be happy to see V Venture bail them out, or they would be sad and they want to go? No, the employees are very ready. They love the company. They are very motivated. But because the company was struggling, that is why they were looking for a job. So if some angel comes in and helps them, they would be more than happy and more than ready to accept, right? Preservation means that whatever is the current strengths, we venture should make sure that the current strengths should not be bulldozed, should not be lost. So the current strength is Dexter. He's an acknowledged industry expert technologically. The current strength is the patents. All these things, they made sure the we venture should make sure that they do not mess or change the current strengths. So they need to preserve the existing strengths. Done. And diversity, just don't even bother about it. Right. So we did this long model, and I know it's a little bit crazy model, but I wanted to teach you this model in a very simple way, because you will really not understand this model if you go through the book or look for other sources. This has been tested once under the name of transformation. So I thought that I would pick this model just in case. I don't expect this to come, but if it comes, you would be really happy, because this model is a tricky model. Right, just let me look at the comments. Yes, Alan, you can. Capacity and power were taken. Shakila, please don't get confused about evaluate this and that. This is a P3 paper, so forget about, don't apply this. Okay, evaluate under the professional skills is part of SBL. We are doing a P3 paper, so don't worry about the word evaluate. What kind of question would come in this topic, Nehal? They will just say that the management or the CEO is thinking of implementing something. It could be anything, and please advise the CEO how they should go about it. Forget about diversity, my friends. Focus on the basic. I can explain diversity, but I know that you will not understand, okay, or majority will not understand. What is the objective of the model? Come on, O2, I explained the objective of the model before I started the model. The objective of the model is to make, before we roll out any change, a change manager should analyze all these aspects of a change and then roll out a change. It is part of planning, okay? Right, okay. Keep it simple, okay? So 7:30, it's 1 hour. All right, so done. So next topic is very interesting. It's called corporate parenting and portfolio. This has been tested. No, this has not been tested as yet. And I believe that again, it's a topic which you might face difficulty in case it comes in your paper. So I'll try to make it very short and simple so that you are able to understand the basics. Okay, SBL is about basics. Do not overstudy, do not overthink, do not overcomplicate. Okay, stick to the basics. Corporate parenting and portfolio. So who is a parent? What is the meaning of the word parent in human terms? So parents are mother and fathers, and they give birth to a child, and then so what is the role of parenting in a human parents? So they give birth to a child, and they feed him or her, and they raise that child, and they send him to school, then they send him to ACCA, and they make him a qualified person so that he becomes a successful person. And then when the parents get old, they expect the child to take care of the parents, and that's it. That's the role, that's the concept of parenting. You create a child, you invest in a child, and then you sit back and enjoy your life. Okay. Corporate parenting. These corporations, these big companies, what they do, they incorporate a small company, they inject money, they inject expertise, and then that small company that starts growing, and when it becomes profitable, it gives dividends to the parents. So all these multinationals, conglomerates, group of companies, they are, corporate parenting models. So if you want to simplify, you can see that there's a group called Kingfisher PLC. It's at the top. It's the parent. It's the head office. We call it corporate parent. And this guy has got 3 children, 1 and 2 and 3 childs. There is no concept of family planning in corporate parenting. Okay, you can have like 20 childs or 200 childs, not a problem. So this, he's got like Kingfisher Fishing, and as the name says, it will be a company who's into the business of fishing. And then another child or subsidiary is called Kingfisher Processing, and I can guess from the name that this fishing company, it's give input to this and they process the fish. And the third child is called Kingfisher Restaurant, and again I can guess from the name that this is a fishing seafood restaurant, mostly buying food from the sister. So these are sister entities, okay, having a common parent. These are called business units. Okay, these are business units or strategic business units or children's or sister entities. So you understand the concept of parent, corporate parenting. Okay, very simple. Now imagine you are the parent. Okay, this is you. You're sitting here. You are the parent. You are sitting on top, and you have 3 children. Will you be monitoring the performance of all your subsidiaries? Absolutely, yes. That's the role of the head office. That you need to continuously monitor, you need to give some targets, and you need to monitor the performance of each of the child. This is what a human parents does as well. They monitor their children. And the question is, what do you monitor? How do you evaluate the performance of the business units? What things you look at? So in the exam, you will be given data and information about 3 or 4 subsidiaries, and you will be asked to evaluate the performance of the subsidiaries, right? So there are many ways of handling this kind of a requirement, but again, because of time constraint under exam conditions, I've tried to simplify it, and you just need to look at these 5 things for each subsidiary. So for kingfisher fishing, you will look at these 5 things. Then you will move to kingfisher processing, and then you will look at again the same 5 things for kingfisher processing, and then you move to the third child and you will look at the same 5 things for the third child. Okay, so now what are these 5 things? The first one is called industry status. So if I want to analyze the performance of my subsidiary, the first thing I would do is I would first analyze the industry in which my child operates. Okay, so now there are 3 possibilities. Either that industry is in growth phase, or that industry is in maturity phase, or it is in decline phase. So there are 3 possibilities. That industry is growing, that industry is flat or mature, or that industry is now declining. So that you need to decide or ascertain from the data. You need to clearly mention these words: growth, maturity, and decline. Okay. How do you decide whether it's growing? You will be provided with industry turnover, industry numbers. So if the industry turnover is increasing year on year, we will say it's growing. If the industry number is constant, or is it's like this, slightly moving like waves, then I would say it's mature. And if the industry turnover is now going down over the years, we will say it's decline. Very simple. Now, what can be the reason? I want to use a new page. So we are talking about industry status, and first possibility is growth, then there is a maturity, third possibility is a decline, right? So industry growth means that the industry turnover will be going up. Maturity means that the industry turnover would be something like flat or constant, and decline that industry turnover is going down. So what can be the reasons why industry goes down? So industry will first get mature and ultimately it goes down. Okay, so what can be the reasons of industry getting mature and ultimately declining? Please think and write. I need your comments. You've got 20 seconds. Please give me 1 or 2 reasons why a particular industry can decline. Technology, obsolescence, competition. Come on, competition. How can an industry decline when the competition is up? Competition is within the industry. If the industry overall is going down, it's got to do something. Recession, okay. Product is outdated, very good. Lack of innovation. Think from an industry point of view. No growth in the market. So why no growth in the market? Economic crisis, okay. So why an industry can decline? So, okay, I think you are on the right track, All right, stop writing. Liquidity. Are you talking about a company or an industry? So think about an industry, okay? Let's think about cameras, or do you know something called radios? Do you know what a radio is? Yeah, I'm sure you know. Do you think the radio industry is in growing phase, is it mature, or is it in decline phase? Tell me, radio is in mature or decline phase? What do you feel? Decline, right? Absolutely, it's no more there. So one of the most common reasons of any industry getting mature and then declining is that better alternate is available. Okay, that means that something better is now available in the market. Your existing product is obsolete and now it is gonna decline. So the first most common reason of any industry going down is that there's a better alternate or a better substitute available in the market. For example, think about these bulbs. These yellow bulbs were replaced by LEDs, right? And now these LEDs are being replaced by solar. So whenever there's a better alternate, the existing industry, it gets tougher. It will first get mature, and then after a few years, it will start getting to decline. Another reason is maybe government restriction, maybe possibility. Then sometimes the government, they do some policies or they put quotas or they tax or they restrict something because they don't want that to grow, and hence that industry may go down. Another reason is mother industry going down. So mother industry is declining. So what is a mother industry? So the spaceships, have you seen those space movies? There's a mother spaceship and they've got these smaller spaceships. So a mother industry is an industry which is the main industry, and I supply my products to the mother industry. For example, think about automobile or car manufacturing industry, right? So I am a company which manufactures tires for a car. So I sell to car companies. I don't sell tires to individuals. I'm selling my tires to car manufacturers. So car manufacturing is the mother industry or the main industry, and I'm a supplier to the car manufacturing industry. So if the car industry goes down, what do you think the effect will be on my industry? I will also go down because I'm dependent on the mother industry. So these are the top 3 reasons why an industry gets mature or decline. Number 1, there will be a better alternate available. Number 2, there may be some government restrictions. Number 3, the main industry or the mother industry, there's something happening to her. Because of that, we are also getting affected. The reason I explained all these possibilities is that if you go here, industry status, you need to mention whether the industry is growing, maturity and decline. But when you mention this, you need to give a reason. Why is it growing? And more importantly, if it's declining, why is it declining? You need to give a reason. In SBL, everything depends on the logic. If you claim whatever you claim, you need to give logic, right? So I've given you 3 possibilities here of why an industry can grow or decline. These are the 3 most common reasons. I want to do a question simultaneously so that we apply industry status. So let's look at a question. So this question is basically, we will do P3 December 2010 called Shoal PLC. Okay, again a P3 paper. Why? Because this topic has not yet been tested in SBL, so I need to use a P3 paper to demonstrate the application. Okay, December 10, Shoal PLC. So a quick background. Shoal introduction. Shoal PLC is a well-known conglomerate organization in the fish industry. Okay, it owns 14 companies. This scenario focuses on 3 companies. I'm just skipping few lines to save time. So first one is Shoal Fish, a fishing fleet operating in the Western Ocean. That's the first child. The second subsidiary is called Shoal Pro, a company concerned with processing and canning fish. And then there's called Shoal Farm, a company with saltwater fish farms. So look at Shoal Fish. And then they have given some information about Shoal Pro, and they have given some information about Shoal Farm. And then if you see, they have given some figures. So all this data will always be provided to you. So if you look at these figures, there's some numbers relating to Shoal Fish, Shoal Pro, Shoal Farm. And if you look at the years, it says 2007, 2008, 2009. So they've given you 3 years data. And what information they have given to you? They've told you the turnover of market sector. Turnover of market sector. So market sector means industry. Then they've given you turnover of shoal fish. And then they've given you gross profit of shoal fish, obviously. So now, same applies for Shoal Pro and Shoal Farm. So, if I want to see what's happening with the industry of shoal fish, can anybody tell me? Is it growth? You look at this. You look at this trend. Look at this trend. Is it growing? Is it mature? Is it declining? I need your answer now. Who says growth? Oh my God. Who's this? Growth? Come on. I'm leaving this webinar. It's declining. Of course it's declining. Oh my God. Okay. The way you decide is you ignore this. You just look at the first year and you look at the last year to see the trend and try to ignore all the years in between. Try to ignore them. Okay, this will make your life easy. So it was 200, and now after 2 years its total turnover in its industry is 190. So clearly this is the industry is in decline phase. Now look, decide for Shoal Pro. This is tricky. Remember this thing. Remember this. That's a hint for you. Tell me, Shoal Pro industry. What's happening with Shoal Pro industry? Is it increasing? Is it mature? Is it declining? Growing. So people are saying it's growing. Oh my God. Increasing, yeah, but how much? Look at the numbers, man. Use some CFOs. Look at the numbers. Growing slightly. So growing slightly means mature. Anything slight, now that means anything which is slight is pointing towards maturity. Stagnant. I like that word stagnant by Poe. 2%. Winston, what's 2%? I don't understand 2%. Tell me mature, growth, or decline. You know, you need to talk the board language. Very good, very good. It is clearly mature. And why do I call it mature? So, you know, it's increasing. A layman would say, hello, sir, it's 40.0 and now it's 40.8, so it's increasing. Oh my God. Don't think, look at the big picture. The industry numbers are almost constant. They are just moving very slightly. So anything which is very slight movement, it will never be constant. Do you understand? It cannot be 40.0 and then again 40.0 and then again 40.0. That's theoretically not possible. Anything which is range bound or moving very, very minor, we call it mature. So this industry is mature. Now, the third one, 10, 11, 12. Tell me, growth, mature, or decline? Growth, mature, or decline? Yes, very good. I am impressed. Thank God you guys are on the right track now. Okay, show some smartness, CFOs. This one is growth. Now, when we say shoal fish is declining, we need to mention the reason. When we say shoal pro is mature, we need to give the reason. And when we say shoal farm is growing, that industry is growing, we need to give the reason. Without reason, the board will throw you out. The board will say, the fishing industry is declining. Why, Mr. CFO? So you need to give a business reason why, in your opinion, this industry is declining. And the reason will be mentioned in the scenario. You just need to copy paste. Okay. You do not need to invent or cook up a story. The reasons will be mentioned in the scenario and you need to copy paste. This is how we say we need to link with the exhibits. So going back to the story, we know that shoal fish is declining, right? So let's read shoal fish. Let's read these two paragraphs. Shoal PLC formed shoal fish in 2002 when it bought 3 small fishing fleets and consolidated them into one fleet. The primary objective of acquisition was to secure the supplies for Shoal Pro. 40% of the fish caught by shoal fish are currently processed in the Shoal Pro factories. So you understand the synergies? Now, shoal fish has recorded modest profits since its formation because it's operating in a challenging marketplace. So it's saying that shoal fish is making small profits. It is not making big profits. Why? Because the marketplace is quite challenging. Now, this sentence is very important. The Western oceans where it operates have suffered from many years of overfishing, and the government has recently introduced quotas in an attempt to conserve fish stocks. So the government has intervened, they have implemented some policies and quotas to limit the amount of fishing. That's not good, right? Shoal fish has 35 boats and it makes it the 6th largest fleet. That's it. Now, equipped with this background information about shoal fish, can anybody tell me why the industry is declining? So you see, we said that the industry is declining. Where is it? Where did it go? Wait. We said that the turnover of market sector is now declining. What's the reason? I want a reason from the case. Where is it? Why am I getting confused? Okay, no, not this one. So you got the reasons why it's declining. Yes, government just go. Excellent, Otto. Challenging marketplace, no, Sankant, no. Challenging marketplace, because of that the profits are reducing. Now at the moment we are talking about the entire industry. I'm not talking about why our profits are going down. You made a big conceptual mistake, my friend. I mean, I gave you straightforward reasons. There are 3 possibilities why an industry can go down. 1, there's a better alternate. 2, there might be a government restriction. So in this case, the government is restricting. So please pay attention to the lectures. Otherwise, it's a waste of your time. Right. So the reason why it's declining is, and I will copy from here and here. I will say that the Western oceans where we operate have suffered from many years of overfishing, and the government has recently introduced quotas in an attempt to conserve fish stocks. That's it. Done. Right. The second thing we need to look is market share percentage. Market share percentage. How is it calculated? It's basically calculated by our turnover divided by industry turnover. So it will give you our market share. Okay, our revenues divided by total industry revenue. And again, also same story here. Market share may be increasing, or it can be maintained, or it can be declined. Okay, let's go back and calculate the market shares. Again, from the data, go to the table. I will open up my calculator. Where is it? So can anybody tell me the market share of 2007 and then market share of 2009? So always focused on the first year and the last year. So 2007, the market share is our thing 24 divided by 200, 12%. So it is market share is 12% in 2007, and now lately it is 21.5 divided by 190 is 11.3%. That's a slight reduction over 2 years. Slight reduction over 2 years. So we need to say whether it is increasing, is it increasing, is it maintained or declining? Remember, anything slight, what do we call it? I would say the market share is increasing or decline or maintain. Let me know what you think. Maintained. Very good. Very good. Mature, Sajid? Why are you saying mature? That's not an option. Mature is the word we use for industry. For market share, please carefully look, Mr. CFO. If you are not careful, you will not be able to pass. Where is it? Come on. It's increasing or maintained. So it's maintained. Okay. Now, do you want? Oh, I would like to show you how to draft. How to draft. Okay, so I would say first heading would be industry status. And please, I'm drafting this and you should also use the same wording. So for industry status, what's the status? It's declining, right? So we'll give the heading, first heading would be Trollfish. Then we will say industry status, and we will say what's the wording there? Yeah, I would like to stick to the wordings used by the examiner. So I would say the turnover of market sector reduced from dollar, how much? 200.0 bracket. What's happening? $200.0 million. When was this? Which year? 2007. It reduced to what? 190 dollar, 190.0 bracket 2009. I just gave some stats. Sorry for the formatting. I don't know why this is misbehaving. The turnover of market sector reduced from dash bracket years to dash bracket years. This shows that the industry is in decline phase. Why? Mainly because the government introduced quotas in order to conserve fish stocks in the western oceans. Alas. Okay, guys, you got it? You understand? Please follow this exact wording. Just change the name, the information, and follow this wording. It will speed up your drafting. Okay? No calculations required. I just produced some basic stats and gave the reason. Similarly, the next thing is market share. And I would say the market share percentage reduced slightly, because we know that it's a slight reduction 12 to 11.3, right? From 12% bracket 2007 to 11.3% 2009. This shows that, hello, just a minute, guys. I'm getting some disturbance. Okay, now it's better. The market share, how would you say? The market share has reduced slightly from 12% to 11.3% 2009. This shows that Shoalfish is able to maintain its market share. Okay. Now, can anybody tell me that in case, supposing the market share was increasing, for example, it from 12, it came to 15, then what you will do? Then you will need to give a reason. If it's maintained, it's good. Then no need to explain why it is maintained. It's understood it's maintained. But if the market share is reducing or increasing, then you need to give a reason to the board, right? So in case the market share reduces, there's only one reason why market share can go down. And that reason is your competitors are outperforming you. Your market share, if it reduces, it means that your competitors are better than you and our customers are moving to our competitors. Similarly, if our market share is increasing, it simply means that we are outperforming our competitors. We are better than our competitors. Okay, got it? Do I have any questions so far? Please, I want to see. Are you okay? Yes or no? I want to see yes or no. Yeah. Any problem? I will give break. I'm more tired than you, but I just want to finish this. Good, very nice. It's easy, right? The third thing is we look at profit margins. Again, same story. It's increasing, maintained, or declining. Okay. So if you go to our case study, let's calculate our profit margin. Profit margin would be like 1.2 divided by our turnover, right? Got it? So where's the calculator? 1.2 divided by 24 gives me 5%. So it was 5%, and now 1.05 for 2009. I would skip the middle years. Divide by 1.05 divide by 21.5. It gives me 4.9. Again, a very slight movements in 2 years. No need to do anything. We will say they are maintaining their gross profit margin. So I'll just, manual CBE students can enjoy this copy pasting, but manual students will have to draft and write everything. We will say, so the information is about gross profit margin. The gross profit margin percentage reduced slightly from 5% 2007 to 4.9% 2009. This shows that Soulfish is able to maintain its gross profit that's it. If you want, you can add one sentence from here. It says Soulfish has recorded modest profits because it's operating in a challenging marketplace. Because this sentence uses the word modest profits, I can use this sentence that Soulfish is making modest profits as it is operating in a challenging marketplace. Just to impress the examiner that I am linking with the case, otherwise you can skip it as well. After profit margin, we do a BCG assessment. And then we do a paragraph on strength, weakness, and primary reason for acquisition. So I think BCG is another model. So let's take how about a break now so that you digest so far. And then after the break, I will start with BCG and complete this question. Is it okay? Up to you guys. Shall I take a break now and then after the break we do a BCG and continue? You're okay with this break in between? All right, excellent. Okay, got it, guys. So in Pakistan, I need to mention Pakistan time, although I'm in Dubai. It's like 9:15, so 9:30, like 15 minutes break, Pakistan time. Okay. All right, guys. See you shortly. Bye. Right. Welcome back from the break. And now we have got exactly 1 hour left, and we will be able to finish this question, and then I will conduct a Q&A session. So we were doing corporate parenting portfolio. And as I said, as a recall, whenever we have subsidiaries, we have to analyze and monitor their performance. And what things do we look at? There can be lots of things, but I have summarized it into 5 aspects. Number 1, we need to write 1 paragraph on the industry status, mentioning growth, maturity, decline, along with reason. Second paragraph will talk about the market share percentage, mentioning increasing, maintained, or declining, along with reasons for increase or decline. Profit margin percentage, increasing, maintained, or declining, along with reason for increase and declining. So if the profit margin is increasing, what can be the most common reason for increase? Always remember, profit margin is to do with costs. Okay, so if your profit margin percentage is improving, that means our costs, our revenue is growing more and our costs are not growing in that same proportion, which is very good. And if our profit margin is declining, that means that our revenue is going down, but our costs are not going down in the same proportion. Hence, our profit is getting squeezed out. Okay, is this clear? Now, the fourth thing we need to look at is a BCG assessment. BCG stands for Boston Consultative Group. And under BCG assessment, we need to mention one of the 4 things. Either we need to say that our child is a star, or we need to say our child is, or a subsidiary is a cash cow, or is it a dog, or is it a question mark? So let's go to BCG. So BCG matrix is something like this. So this one is x-axis, this one is y-axis. Okay, on the x, we talk about market share, which means we need to say whether it is low or it is high. On the y, we talk about industry status. So this one is mature / decline, and this one is growth. So do you understand the x and the y axis? And we have already covered both things. We have talked about the industry status, and we've already talked about calculated the market share of shoalfish. So first, let me explain to you the model. So let's talk about this box. So this box means what? So any subsidiary who falls in this box, it is called star. A star is a company which has a high market share and operates in a growing industry. So both parameters are very favorable. So the industry is growing, which is very good for us. And because we have a high market share, so we are benefiting a lot if the industry is growing. So any subsidiary which falls in this box, we call it a star. Okay. And the strategy for star is build. Build means continue to invest in a child who is a star. Obviously, if I've got a child out of 5, one of my child is a star child, so I would like to invest in him, right? So it's called build. The second box is called cash cow. A cash cow is a company which has a high market share. It's high market share, but now that industry is either mature or is in declining phase. That's why it's called cash cow, because it is now at the peak. It has now reached the last stages of maturity and then decline. So you then milk the cow to the last drop. So what's the strategy here? We call it hold. Hold means that we try to maintain this position as much as possible. For example, if we are into a maturing industry, that's the peak. I would like to hold that position before the decline starts. The third box is called a dog. Yeah, dog. And dog is a company which has got a low market share in a declining industry. So both the parameters are unfavorable. Number one, we've got a very low market share. So why bother? You know, the small market share is not good, right? And then also on top of that, that bloody industry is also declining. So what do we do with a dog? We get rid of it. It is called, the strategy for dog is divest. Divest means get rid of it. And the fourth box is called question mark. Question mark means that, you know, currently it's got a low market share, but the industry is very promising. The industry is showing growth. So that is why it's called a question mark, whether we should invest in it or not. We're taking a chance on it. The strategy is called harvest. You know, we need to decide whether we, invest in a company or a subsidiary whose market share is low, but the industry is growing. So let's invest now for future profits. So it's a question mark. So do you understand the BCG? So for each subsidiary, we need to analyze that our subsidiary is falling into which box. And how would you decide that? You will look at the market share and the industry status. So for shoal fish, coming back to shoal fish. So shoal fish in the industry, we've already done the industry status, right? And we have said that the industry status is decline. Okay. So decline means that it's somewhere in either of these two boxes. Okay. Now, the second thing is market share. For market share, now listen very carefully. This is slightly confusing. Market share, we need to say whether it is high or it is low. Okay. Now, which market share? Which market share are we supposed to look at? Are we supposed to look at 2007 market share or 2009, which is current market share? So I'm not talking about changes in market share. I'm talking about absolute market share of 2007 versus 2009. So if I go to this table, so the market share was 12% and now it's 11%. Okay. So my question is, which market share do we look at? Previous or current? So this one was 12%. This one was 11%, 11.3. So always remember, we will look at current market share. So current market share I know is, so my current market share is 11%. So now is 11% high or low? It's subjective, right? 11% is a high market share or a low market share? Let me know. Do you think 11% is a high market share or low market share? Okay, majority is saying low. Some people are saying high. So it's subjective. So again, I will give you a rule of thumb. Okay, there is no scientific formula for deciding it's high or low, but as a rule of thumb, as a reference point, yes, Whitney, I would say anything above 20%, I would call it high. Anything below 20%, I will call it low. Okay, but again, do not quote me in the exam because there is no scientific formula behind this. It is your call, but just as a rule of thumb, anything 19, 18, 20, 22 and above, I would say it's high. 10, 11, 12, that's not considered high. Okay. So Shoalfish, it's got a 11.3% market share. So I would take it as low. So that means Shoalfish is here. It's a dog. Why? Because it's got a low market share in a declining industry. Okay, understood how you apply the model? Can I have a yes? Do you understand how I decided Shoalfish was a dog? It is a dog as per BCG and we need to divest because it's got a low market share in a declining industry. Do you understand? I need a yes or a no. Oh, excellent. I'm impressed. Very good. Thank you, guys. No, Sharik, forget about industry percentages. Or just see whether you have said high or growth, maturity or decline. We have already done the industry. We have decided whether it's growth, maturity or decline. So do not look at the percentage. Here you just need to look at growth or decline. Okay. Right. Now, how do you draft it? You will say BCG matrix. You understand? I first give my logic. I say that Shoalfish operates in a declining industry. Also, it has a low market share. Accordingly, as per BCG matrix, Shoalfish can be classified as a dog and the proposed strategy is to divest. So as per the model, it says divest. But then I remember reading somewhere. Okay, forget it. I'll cover that. So you're okay with this, BCG matrix, very simple. You give the logic and then you conclude whether it's dog or cash cow or star and what will be the related action. The last paragraph we need to talk about is any strength, weakness, and reason for acquisition. So this will all be given in the scenario. If you see any strength, if you see any weakness, or if you see the reason why this company was acquired, mention those in the last paragraph. So if I look at the case study, I can see this. The primary objective of acquisition was to supply the supplies for Sol Pro. That's the reason, and I can see this as this one as a strength. Okay, so I will say here I would say that's it. So short and sweet, I'm now reducing the page view so that you can see that all this is for Sol Fish. There are 5 paragraphs. I mean, you can remove the headings if you want. We just give 5 paragraphs, 2 lines, 3-liner each, and that's Shoal Fish. So we use some statistics and we use some information from the scenario and we analyzed Shoal Fish. Easy, yeah? Okay. So now let's move to Shoal Pro. Can I rub all this? Now Shoal Pro, we already decided that this one was mature. We said it was mature. Now turnover of market sector, we need to calculate the market share. So market share of Shoal Pro. How do you calculate? 16 divided by industry, 40. 16 divided by 40, it gives me 40%. And now it is 16.5 is our revenue divided by 40.8. It's 40.4. Again, some slight movements in points. So we are maintaining our market share. Gross profit margin is 1.6 divided by 16, 10%. And now it is 1.75 divided by 16.5. It's 10.6. Again, a very small movement in. So equipped with this stats, let's quickly read Shoal Pro. Shoal Pro was acquired in 1992 when Shoal PLC bought the assets of Forget about all this. Now, industry. What's happening with the industry of Sole Pro? It's mature, right? Okay, so why is it mature? Very interesting question. We are saying that the industry of Sole Pro is mature, so we need to give a reason. So there are three possible reasons. One, there's a better alternatives available. Two, government restrictions. Three, the mother industry is declining. So please think, why Sole Pro is mature? Is it dependent on some other industry? Why Sole Pro is declining? Government grant? Come on, man. Lola? Why Sole Pro industry is declining? Oh, come on, guys, I've given you reasons. I've given you three straightforward reasons. Can you see the reasons? Wait, I can't see the reasons. So there are three reasons why industry can decline. Can't you apply a checklist? Why do you need to think and reinvent everything? I've given you a 3-item checklist. You just go through them one by one. Is there a better alternate available? So what's the alternate of fish? Nothing. So this option goes out. Is there any government restriction? Is there any quotas or anything? No. This case doesn't mention anything about Sole Pro, government quotas and everything. The third reason is a mother industry is declining. So what does Sole Pro does? It buys fish. So if the fishing industry is declining, how can you expect the processing industry to flourish? So please keep it simple. Go through the checklist and pick up one straightforward answer. Do not try to create something from your mind. You guys are not experienced enough, right? Follow my checklist, please. That's the whole purpose of making it simplified and telling you guys in checklists so that you just apply the checklist. Do not complicate, please. Okay, got it? So what's the reason? What's the reason why the Sole Pro is declining? Very simple. So now I will just copy this here. I will say Sole. I'll just increase the size. The turnover market sector reduced from 40. Where's the stats? 40.0 to 40.8. Okay. Has slightly increased from 40.0 to 40.8 2009. This shows that the industry is in mature phase, mainly because the fishing industry is under decline due to government quotas on overfishing. That's it. Do you think the board will be convinced? Yes. All you need to do is convince the board. Okay. Now, what's next? The market share. I'll just copy paste here the market share. What's happening with the market share for 10 to 10.6? The market share increased slightly from 10% to 10.6. This shows that Sole Pro is able to maintain its market share. Very simple. Now, third one, gross profit margin. The gross profit margin percentage, what's happening? a sorry, some wrong stats. This one will go here. Okay, and the gross profit margin 10 to 10 for slightly. This pro is able to maintain its gross profit margin. That's it. Now BCG, very interesting guys. BCG for Shoal Pro. Let's open BCG. Shoal Pro, industry is mature or declined? How do I know? I just go back to my notes. It says mature. And then what's my current market share? Current market share is 40.4. Is that high or low? 40% market share is high. Very simple. So I'll just go back and so it's what? Is it a cash cow? Let's look at the model. Declining stage and high market share. It means a cash cow. Cash cow means high market share and declining industry. Shoal Pro is a cash cow. Shoal Pro operates in a mature industry. Also, it has a high market share, 40.3%. Accordingly, as per BCG metrics, Shoal Pro can be classified as a cash cow, and proposed strategy is to hold. That's it. Any strength, weakness mentioned in the scenario? Yes. It's got modern facilities and relatively low cost have made it attractive to many fishing companies. So you understand the approach. Same 5 things which we saw for fish, shoal fish. Same exactly those 5 things we will apply on Shoal Pro, and the same 5 things we will apply on Shoal Farm. Okay. So now I want Shoal Farm to be done by you guys as a homework. And so we did 2 very big topics today. We did change management, the context of change, and we did corporate parenting. Okay. Now I would like to move to the third topic for tonight, and it is a very interesting and a lighter topic. So I understand these 2 topics were very difficult, but where is this? Now we'll go to something lighter. Okay. Now you guys relax your shoulders and just enjoy the last 30 minutes. So we did this question. So now the next topic is IT risks and controls. Okay. So we know that in today's age and time, IT is plays a very important role in an organization, right? Even if you are on websites and e-commerce, then for sure it is a critical thing. But even if you are not online, still IT is very important, because all your systems, accounting, softwares, inventory, everything uses IT. No one uses manual systems anymore, right? So IT is a very, very important resource. Now, but then IT faces certain risks. So let's break the IT into 2 components: hardware and data or software. Okay. One is physical, one is logical. Hardware is called physical because it's a tangible thing, and data or software is called logical because it is intangible. Okay, remember these words. So now, what can go wrong? What can go wrong with our what can go wrong with our hardware? Can you think of 3 risks or 3 bad things which can happen to your hardware? Yeah, you can see the list in front of you. There could be unauthorized access to your servers. There could be damage or malfunction, theft, power failure, very, very important. There could be fire or flood or earthquake, right? So these are some most common threats or risks which our hardware faces. And whenever there is a risk, there needs to be a security or a control in place so that we can mitigate or minimize the risk, right? So what are the most common IT controls for hardware? Can you think of few? I give you 30 seconds. Think of few most important controls in order to protect our hardware. How can I protect myself from unauthorized access to my servers? How can I make sure that Angelina Jolie does not reach my server? Good. Those are controls. How can I make sure that in case there's a power failure, nothing bad happens, my system still works? How can I make sure that fire doesn't happen, and in case it happens, how can I immediately control or minimize it? Very good. So your mind has already started giving solutions and controls. So let me undo this. So I've mentioned the most typical controls here. Okay. So first of all, on hardware, the most famous important control is physical access control. This is mainly for this, okay? Physical access control, especially for server rooms and where your data is kept and all your main equipment is there. How can we implement security? Like physical access, you can have security guards. Oops. We will have security guards. We can have biometrics. We can have swipe cards. We can have CCTVs. All these are security measures, physical security measures, so that no unauthorized person can enter or access the server room. Then we've got like proper fire protection. We will have generators and power supply alternatives, and the list goes on. But these are the most basic things. Do you understand the basic core threats to our hardware and the basic controls we need to put in place? I need a yes. Do you understand? Very good. Now comes to the difficult part. Let's talk about software. So now, can you think of certain risks which your software faces? What can go wrong in your data? What are the threats to your data? Think of 5 threats. 20 seconds. Think of 5 things which can go wrong, threats, risks to your data or into your software. Right. Were you able to think certain risks? Let me hide all these things so that I want you to think. So what are the key risks or threats? Unauthorized access, that's the biggest threat. I don't want people to access my confidential data. Forget confidential. I don't want any unauthorized person to access my company data at all. You see, companies, they carry a lot of data, sensitive data as well, confidential data, credit card details of my customers, sensitive data like date of birth and personal data, financial data, everything is in the system. The biggest risk is unauthorized access. Hacking means that an unauthorized person, they enter our systems. You remember this, the Twitter account of Barack Obama was hacked a couple of months back. So then the threat of virus can destroy our data. Then there is risk of cyber crimes and frauds. And then data loss, ransomware. You heard of ransomware, that people will hijack your data and delete your data. The software can malfunction and many more. So these are some basic, most common risks which we try to address when we talk about logical or software controls. Okay. Now, think of 5 controls which you think should be in an organization in order to minimize these risks. For example, how can you make sure that no unauthorized person can access? Remember, you have a Gmail, you have an email ID. How can you make sure that your mom does not access your email? Or if you have a Facebook account, how can you or a WhatsApp, how can you make sure that your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend doesn't access your Facebook or WhatsApp? Yeah, now I think you will know the answer. Okay. How can we protect from hacking? How can we protect our systems from data loss? So there are many controls, and let's discuss them one by one. The most important control is called logical access controls, which simply means password management. Okay. So, we all know that there are certain rules for password management. Remember? So, if you set up your own email ID or Facebook account, it will ask you for at least 8-digit alphanumeric character so that your password can be a strong password. Then, I'll tell you about my company. So in my company, I'm the CFO, and I have access to some really important information. So if someone can use my password, I will be screwed. I will be shot, right? If someone else can enter the system using my password, that's my last day. So then we have got some password management policies in place. For example, the first condition, my password should be at least 8-digit long and alphanumeric character. All those things has to be there. Then secondly, I have to change my password regularly. So every 90 days, the system will ask me to change my password. If I don't change my password, it will lock me out. And then I'm not supposed to write my password anywhere or share it with anyone. I will be shot dead. What about this one? You know this one, that if someone tries to guess my password and make some incorrect attempts, the system should block out the password after 3 incorrect attempts. And now this one is very common. Now my company is using this for everything. It's called one-time password, OTP. How many of you know OTP? Have you used? I'm sure you use. OTP is something when you create a WhatsApp account, they will send you a 4-digit code on your phone. and then you input that 4-digit code. So, when you change your password on Facebook, it will send you a special one-time code on your email or on your phone, and you need to input that. So that's an OTP thing. So that's a second level of control. So please remember all these things, huh? How we can make passwords more stronger, more effective, right? After that, another important thing is backup. So, there is still a chance that your data might get corrupt or hijacked. And that's why you should have backup of your data. Now, what's important in backup is that it has to be a regular backup. It has to be taken regularly, not once a month or once a week. The ideal situation is a real-time backup, or if not real-time, then at least on a daily basis. And it has to be a remote location. The backup servers should not be kept alongside the main servers. Why? Because if there's a bomb blast or a fire, the entire building will collapse, and both my main server as well as the backup servers, they will both get destroyed. So backup servers are normally kept offsite, far off in a remote location. At least the rule of thumb is 100 kilometers away in another city. Okay. The third important thing is firewalls. Firewall is very important. Why? For hacking, protection against hacking. So whenever you see the threat of hacking, the first thing which should come to your mind is a firewall. So what is a firewall? It is an extra layer of protection. So firewall, it protects the entire data from hackers. These are very specialized safety, security, protections, protocols, and softwares. The hacker first needs to break the firewall, and then he will need to break the password to enter the data. So firewall is an extra layer of security specially designed to protect against hacking. Another important control is audit trails, that the system, the software, it maintains a log. What's a log? That which user logged in at what time, after logging he performed which functions, and when that person logged out. System maintains an audit trail, or it's also called system logs. So for example, if something bad happens in the night in my data, the first thing I will do is I will look at the audit trail to see whose user ID and password was used, and I will call that employee and ask him question that your user ID has been used to manipulate the data, and I will investigate. And how would I know? Through audit trails. And then we must have antiviruses. Now this will protect us against antiviruses threat. And then this one is very important, segregation of duties. That's the basic control, right? That no one user should have all the rights. So for example, in my case, I'm the CFO. I can authorize transactions in the system, but I cannot prepare any transactions. I do not have the rights, the access rights to prepare a transaction. The transaction will be prepared by the accountant. So accountant, he has the rights to prepare a transaction, but he cannot authorize it. And me, I have the rights to authorize it, but I cannot prepare a transaction. So this is how we break it. So if I want to do a fraud, I need to bring the accountant on board with me. I need to do a collusion with the accountant, and together we can do a fraud, right? But if we have a proper segregation of duty, it's a very, very important control which is required. So ladies and gentlemen, this particular slide is very important. The entire topic you can cover from this one slide. Please think of it like a checklist. What are the basic risks? Da 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 da. What are the basic controls? Da 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 da. That's it. Do not try to do a PhD in these topics, okay? Already you just have 4 weeks left. Right. So last thing, why is IT security important? So let me ask you one question. Do you think IT security or IT controls is important? I want a yes or a no. Do you think having IT security is important? Yes, excellent. So all of you agree that it's important. So the next question the board will ask you, why is IT security important, Mr. CFO? So what can go wrong? So you need to tell them the risks. You need to tell them the business consequences if something goes wrong. Right? So this is a list. This will clearly scare off the directors. You will say, why is IT security important? Because any IT breach will cause a business disruption. Supposing the bank's system is breached, the ATMs are breached. It's happened in Pakistan last year that the ATMs of one particular large bank, it was called Bank Al Islami, all the ATMs were hacked. So immediately the bank, they closed off their entire systems. So none of the customers, none of the clients were able to withdraw money or do any kind of banking for a good few days. So think about Amazon. If it gets hacked, it will lose billions of revenue per day, right? It's a business interruption. Uh, Secondly, reputational loss. Of course, it will affect your goodwill. And then you may lose customers. You may lose customers. So customers, once if their data is compromised, why would they continue with you? And then you can also face legal cases by customers. Why would they leave you? Why would they spare you? And then you may end up in regulatory fines. For example, Data Protection Act. If personal data is breached, then you are screwed. And then, also incorrect decision making because if the data is tampered. So these are very, very serious consequences of IT breach. And that's why IT security is important, because it gives us protection from these issues. Right, so there is a small question which I don't have time now to do it because we are just left with 12 minutes. And it's a very nice, simple question. I want you to do it as a homework. Okay, this one is P3 March June 2016, question number 2A. You can Google this paper and you will find it somewhere on some website. Okay, so try to do this question number 2A. It's very interesting. I can do it now, but then I want to take some question and answers, especially from yesterday and if anything from today, right? I want to keep the last 10 minutes for Q&A. So attend this question, and if you have any problem, you can reach out to me and I will be very happy to help you with this. All right. So again, this is my WhatsApp group. People who are not on my group, please send me a message on this number and I will add you to the group. Now let me go through questions. How many marks we would get for the points we made in Shoal PLC? Good marks. Can you please show the answer of Shoal thing? You want me to show the answer? Okay, after that, I will show you the draft answer. I'm just looking at selected questions. Huh? Sir, these IT areas enough from exam point of view? Yes, Shabresh. Can you show the requirement of Shoal PLC? Ah, yes. Uh, but then I would need to close the screen. So requirement of Shell PLC. Okay, I'll just show you the requirement of Shoal PLC. Sorry, I missed it. As requirement was very simple. Here, in the context of Shoal PLC's corporate level strategy, assess the contribution and performance of Shoal Fish, Shoal Pro, and Shoal Farm. So how do you know it's a corporate parenting question? You will see this word corporate level, you will see the word portfolio, and you will see multiple companies, Shoal Fish, Shoal Pro, Shoal Farm, subsidiaries. Okay, right. Going back to my question screen. Why we have divided gross profit with Shoal PLC share rather than gross profit margin? You should know how to calculate. The gross profit margin is gross profit divided by revenue. I have not done anything different. Okay. Sir, any new technical article in SBL? Very good question, Ronit. No. There were technical articles in previous attempt like blockchain and cryptos and IPOs. Those were tested. So no new article during last 3-4 months. If you watch the September webinar, you will cover the articles which were published before that. Okay. What's the difference between divest and harvest? Divest means to get rid of. Harvest means to invest, to grow something, like harvest a farmer. Sir, part B is context of change model. Yes, it is. Do we need to read all the articles? No. Do we need to read all the articles from ACCA? No. Sadia, I will answer this question tomorrow. It's part of tomorrow's technique. Should we highlight the words decline in the answer? Yes, if you are giving a CBE paper, yes. Will previous articles be tested? I don't think so. Is data analytics examined one time? And I will cover it tomorrow. By data analytics, I'm talking about big data, because data analytics is an extension of big data. Which article? Please stop asking questions about article. I've already answered. Or there's no new article for this attempt. Watch September webinar. You will see the last 2-3 articles already covered there. That's enough. Can we get Google Drive access? You need to join my WhatsApp group, and you will get access through that. The drive is mentioned in the WhatsApp group. Sir, what is P1 and P3 list of questions? I will, very good, Najla. I will share that list of practice questions in the last class. Will exam change to remote CBE? How would I know, Afzal? ICRA, you need to analyze from both. It's a hybrid model. Okay. Okay. Chances of BCG in paper. BCG in paper, yeah. Not very high, but not very low as well. All the topics which I have selected for December, they have a chance. Okay. I will never select a topic and waste your time if it doesn't have a chance. So please don't ask such questions. Yes, Babar Ali, I think you missed yesterday's session. I explained all this. Just watch September webinar and December webinar, and that's enough. Okay. Chica, forget about it. Don't worry. Just follow what I told. Yes, Ali, please don't repeat questions about article. Why don't you listen the first time I speak? Should we give a conclusion at the end of corporate parenting and portfolio? Good question. Please avoid conclusions and recommendations. Do not ever give conclusions or recommendations in any question unless the question specifically asks you to give recommendation or conclusion. So if the question says da 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 and give your conclusion, then yes, you have to give. But if the question is silent, then do not voluntarily give conclusions. Good question. Are you supposed to go through the notes in the WhatsApp drive? No, I'm just covering all the topics here, so no need. I'm relying on your webinar to pass. Yes, okay. Many students have passed by just taking the webinar and the mock exams. So, but then make sure that you strictly follow and be smart. Okay, you need to be smart. Can you explain how to follow timeline? That's my big item for tomorrow. Time management is tomorrow's thing. Very, very important. So tomorrow, guys, I will start with time management. Very, very important thing. Please join me on time for time management. We cover all the formats. Yes, Sadia, absolutely. We will cover all the formats. We will cover all the professional skills, everything in the last class, because I first want you to cover at least 15-20 topics. Once we are done with the topics, then we can focus more on formats and professional skills. If you don't know the topics in the first place, what good will be the formats and professional skills then? I have trouble in PID format, no problem. Watch Afzal, watch September webinar. I did PID in a lot of detail. Yes, Sharik, you're absolutely right. Sir, which input tools you are using in webinar, Murtaza? Okay, I'm using PDF Annotator. Okay, it's a very good software. It's called PDF Annotator, and I'm using a licensed version. Okay, right, guys. So I think good Q&A session, and when the recording will be uploaded of the webinar, very good. I have no idea. Can anybody I know about September, that in September the recordings were updated in Vimeo. There's a specific Vimeo. If you search ACCA webinars, ACCA practice to pass, and then in September somebody also uploaded in YouTube. So I believe that this time around also ACCA will be updating in Vimeo, but a lot of students, they upload in YouTube and monetize it and earn money on it. So just Google on YouTube and Vimeo, and if you don't see anything, then let me know, and I will anyways check with ACCA office. Yesterday is already in. Oh, Dennis is saying yesterday is already in. Where, Dennis? On Vimeo or YouTube? Laiba, okay, Vimeo. Laiba, I cannot explain everything again. The simple way is you watch the video, rewind it, and watch it 2 times, 3 times till you understand. Okay. YouTube as well. Oh, okay. So students are confirming that yesterday's session is already uploaded in Vimeo and YouTube. Just Google ACCA practice to pass or prepare to pass, December 2020, and it will pop up. Right, oh guys, Afzal is asking, can I repeat same point in the paper? Listen guys, very good question, Afzal, thank you. Afzal is asking, can we repeat same point in the paper? Yes, you can repeat the same point, but with different contexts. In different contexts, you cannot repeat the same point again and again with the same context. For example, the facts doesn't change, right? A point doesn't change. So the facts can be repeated, but to defend different kind of arguments. Okay, for example, if the government is implementing government is implementing taxes, or government is implementing health and safety laws, so it can be used in political, and this point can also be used in legal. But when we talk in political, we will say that the government is more focused on the health and safety of the employees. That is why it is rolling out health and safety regulations. The same point in legal, we will change the drafting. We will say that the company needs to comply with health and safety regulations, which has been recently launched. So you can repeat the points, but in different background. Sir, what we will give for growth? What do you mean growth? Alien, growth in where? How many lines for CBE paper? There is no particular line for CBE because it's all copy pasting and typing. So no line restriction as long as you are within the time management. Oh, Ejaz said I shared the link on YouTube. Oh, no, I shared the YouTube link on WhatsApp group. Thank you very much, Ejaz. I really appreciate. All the questions are in my Google Drive. All the P3 questions are in the Google Drive. Okay, so now I'm ending the. Thank you, Shreya. I'm ending this Q&A, and one of the students wanted to see the drafted answer. So let me open this draft, and I don't know whether you can see this. So that's the draft for shoalfish. Now you will see the full thing. Okay, that's the draft for shoalfish. Take a screenshot or a picture of it. And then we've got Shoal Pro. Take a screenshot or picture of it. Okay, it will help you. Right, ladies and gentlemen, with this, I would like to thank each one of you, and looking forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. Till then, good night and take care.